Monday the 27th of July, and this is the reason that we're still at Cheddleton. It's a wet day and rain's been forecast for all day. We've had a few breaks in the downpours, but we've got one at the moment. So today is a day of rest. We've done a bit of shopping in the village. Other than that, it's just sit here, read a book and drink cups of tea. Well, it's Monday evening and the rain has finally cleared. It's been an awful day. We haven't moved. We've stayed here at Cheddleton. One or two boats have been moving and everybody's got the wet weather gear on, but we've decided we were going to stay here. And that across there is the Cheddleton Valley Railway, and that's their yard and the water tower, a couple of engines, and the river just there is the Cheddleton, which is next to the canal, which is here. This is the boat in at Cheddleton on the canal. Yes, they are open, and there's some work going on the bridge. I think somebody's run into the parapet and knocked it for 6. So CRT or County Council, whoever's responsible, are doing some repairs, and the road is closed. Down the lane takes us over the River Trent. At this point, this is the bridge over the River Trent, and in the distance is Cheddleton Station, looking resplendent in the evening sunlight. It's a lovely station. And there's the river. Quite wide at this point, but I don't think it's that deep. Certainly not navigable. And there's a stream coming into it. After all the rain, it's running quite rapidly, and there's quite a bit of silt coming in as well. With the beauty of the road being closed is I can walk down the middle of it without the danger of being run over. But it's a lovely station building. I think it's North Staffordshire Railway origin, but that looks lovely, doesn't it, in the sunlight with the blue sky behind it. It's just before 8 o'clock at night now. As you can see, the railway goes across the road. There's a set of gates. And in the opposite direction it heads off towards Leekbrook, I think is that direction. That's at Barclay. Just looking at the maker's plate, 1946. Barclay and Sons. Don't know the history of it. Doesn't look as though it's in working order. If you look just in front of the Class 20, in between the gap where the signal box is, that's our boat, near that little shed. And that's a general view of the station. Just opposite the station are these fellas wallowing in mud. I don't know what the breed is. There's a little rat there at the back. How nice. Never moved all day. Noticed the chimney's on. We had a fire in this morning. So that's the end of a day that we haven't moved. But it's a nice end to the day. A little bit better than the start of the day. It's Tuesday the 28th of July. It's about 10 to 9 in the morning and we're getting ready now to set off after a day of not moving yesterday due to the weather. The forecast today is for no rain, although we've had a quick shower earlier and there's some pretty grey clouds up above. But I think we're pretty safe to proceed now. If we get a shower, we've got raincoats, not a problem.
That's 2, so there's 7 more before lock number 4. Yeah, that's right. There was 5 there, wasn't there? Yeah.
Just at Hazelhurst lock flight. There's 3 locks. This is the middle one, number 11. We've got a bit of teamwork going. Sue's going to do the next lock, set that ready, while I do the top gate and paddles on this one. So it speeds things up a bit. We're following a boat going up, so every lock's got to be emptied before we can go into it. The wind is particularly strong today, so it's kicking the bow of the boat in all directions. So that was fun. The wind blew the boat back in. Couldn't close the gate. It's been a strange morning. It's lovely sunshine now, but over there's a huge black cloud. We've already met 2 of those. Give us a good soak in, so the forecast wasn't quite what it said it was going to do. Anyway, we've got the boat straight now, so just waiting for the gates to come open and then we'll go in. That's one open, and that's the black cloud that I was telling you about. With a bit of luck it might blow over. It's a nice location, this is, with a little lock cottage there, and it's in the middle of nowhere really. There's no main roads around. So we got in alright and we're rising now in Hazelhurst top lock. The junction's just in front of us beyond bridge 35. Arm goes under that bridge there. Oh, there's a boat just coming out there. So that's the lee arm, and we're on the main line. so he's going to be in front of us, but it doesn't matter, there's no more locks for a bit. I think we'll be stopping for lunch before we arrive at the next lock. We're here at Park Lane, we've pulled in for water and it's a hive of activity. We're quite close to the bridge, but we've got one boat who just nipped in before we got here to the standpipe, and then there's two CRT boats unloading all the ducting and pipe work that they've been using on the lock renewals. So it's quite a busy yard just at the minute. And then the red boat beyond them, he's wanting water as well, so he's more or less double moored with that red boat up there, so it's a little bit chaotic. The guy in this boat's just gone to empty his toilet, so he's left me to look, keep an eye on his filler, but he says it was pretty empty, so it could take a while and we can't use the water until he's finished. So right, we've done the water, we've moved up just a few yards away from the mooring for the water. We get into trouble if we stop there, and we've pulled in for lunch, and at the minute it's a bright blue sky with puffy clouds, but that one's just gone over us, so it's a right mixed bag of weather today. But at the moment it's fine and it's warming up. I'm going to take this jumper off in a minute, so we'll have a bit of lunch here, and then I think probably a couple of hours this afternoon we should be back to where we wanted to moor at the lift bridge. Well, we've had dinner, the sun's come out, we're about ready to go, but it's like Clapham Junction here. There's two more boats getting water, CRT are moving their boats, and it's quite busy. Just going down the first of 3 locks at Stockton Brook. And this is the second in the flight. What I should have said earlier was that there are 4 locks in this flight. So we've done 1, this is number 2. I'm just about ready to go in. I can shut it. So that was number 2, and this is number 3 in front. She's just filling the water, the lock up with water again. They leak out so badly. The locks really should be in our favour because we've just passed one going the other way, but they leak, so she's having to fill the lock before we can go in. We're now in the 3rd lock, and we're going down. So we're at the 4th one now, and I've just looked at the book. There's another one yet. We've got a bit of a sculpture here, and a couple of people watching what we're doing. Yeah, gates are opening, ready to go. One more lock. So one more to go, and I think there might be a boat in it already. This is another problem sometimes you get at locks. That's what's called a bywash. And it's where the water above the lock overflows down a sluice and discharges below the lock, and sometimes that can throw your boat out as you're approaching. Just line your boat up ready to go in, and then you get hit by the current of that and it throws it all out. This is where the old waterworks building is, which we'll have a look at when we get there. According to the canal guide, we've dropped 41 foot 1 inches in 5 locks. Well, that's it for today. We've finished. And you're wondering, what's he doing? Where's he sitting? Well, I'm sitting in the cabin. It's 7:30 and I've had my dinner. I've changed. I've brushed my hair. And the reason I didn't do my clothes on the stern deck is because my battery had gone on my camera. So it's had a couple of hours on charge and we're back to full battery. We're at Norton Green, which is just past the lift bridge. This is more or less as far as it's advisable to go towards Stoke-on-Trent to stop overnight. Further that way it's not advisable to stop, for reasons that you can probably work out. So we've stopped here. It's in the wilds a bit. There's a farmhouse across the other side of the canal. There's another boat behind us, so we're fairly safe. We've had a good day. We made an early start. It was 9 o'clock when we got moving this morning. But the big issue today has been the wind. We've had the odd shower this morning. This afternoon's not been too bad, but the wind's really been strong and it's been blowing the boat out, and it's awkward when you're approaching locks trying to line the boat up to go in a lock, and then the wind catches it and pushes it to one side. So we're fighting the wind a bit today, but we've not had any major disasters. So we've arrived in one piece, not had any damage, so fairly satisfied with the day that we've had. Tomorrow's going to be a little bit of a longer day because we want to get through Stoke-on-Trent and out the other side before we stop for the night. We'll probably stop lunchtime at Etruria Junction again, where the Caldon comes into the Trent and Mersey. There's also the services there which we'll make use of, so it'll be a repeat really of our outward journey, where we stopped there for lunch and dealt with the Elsan and water. I don't think we're going to want water tomorrow because we've filled up today at Park Lane. Right, one thing I do when we're more up at night, if there's anything of interest, I usually go and have a little stroll and have a look at it. And just back down the canal the way we've come, about 200 yards away, is the infant River Trent, where it goes under the canal. So I want to go and have a walk and have a look at that. And also we've just come through a lift bridge before we got here, and I wanted to actually record us going through the lift bridge, but of course my battery was flat, so I didn't get the opportunity to do that. So I'm gonna go down and have a look at the lift bridge and explain how it's operated. Just before we get to the River Trent, This is worth explaining. That's not a canal, that's actually the water feeder that brings water down from Nippersley Reservoir, which I think is about 2 miles away, and it actually supplies water to the summit level of the Trent and Mersey Canal via the Caldon Canal, which is obviously what we're on at the moment. So that's another interesting feature that I've read about in the guidebook. That gap there, where that little handrail is the River Trent, believe it or not, going under the canal. And I'm going to try and get across the canal. There's a footpath sign there on that fence post, and there's an overbridge about 100 yards away, so I'm going to go up there, see if I can get over the bridge. I'll go down the other side and have a look at it. So that's bridge 22, which I've just come across, and this is a public footpath which will lead to the River Trent aqueduct. So down here is the River Trent. You wouldn't believe that, would you? If you go to Nottingham Embankment, that's the River Trent, complete with urban debris. Should have brought my fishing net. And that's the River Trent aqueduct, of which there are quite a few, I think, as we wend our way back towards Cheddleton. I mentioned previously that a lot of the bridges on the Caldon, particularly the top end of the Caldon, have these stone number tablets in the brickwork, and that's one on bridge 22. To when the canal was built, as is the bridge. And down here, something else that you might find interesting, on these cornerstones on a lot of the old bridges you can see grooves worn in the stone. Well, they're the grooves worn by the ropes that the horses were using to pull the boats along. As the horse came under the bridge, the rope would snag on the side, because the boat is round there and the horse is here. So on the corner, the rope would then wear a groove, and a lot of canal bridges have actually got cast iron plates with grooves already cast in to protect the cornerstones, but this one obviously hasn't got that. And those are the grooves worn by the tow ropes that were used to tow the boats by horse. Approaching the lift bridge from the opposite direction now. So this is what you're faced with when you pull up in your boat. So you've got to moor your boat, and there's a short landing there with mushrooms for your rope. This is obviously not a main road, it's just an access road to these properties, but there's a sign there that tells you what you need to do. And what you need to do, we have what's called a BWB key, which is British Waterways Board key, or CRT key as it's now known. So you put your key in, turn it, which I'm not going to do, and then It's fairly simple. One button for open, and it's hydraulically controlled, and then one button for close. But you can't withdraw your key until the bridge is down and secured. I'll take the key out now. So it's as simple as that. And this is one of two that are controlled by key on the Caldon Canal. There are two more, or was it one? I'm not sure. You lose count. Yes, there are two more, but one is raised virtually permanently. It's the landowner that lowers it when he requires to go across, whereas the others are raised by boaters as they need to go through. So one is permanently open. The other one is operated by windlass, which is what we use to operate the paddles on locks. I'll ignore that. And the other one is operated by key, which is further up towards Stoke-on-Trent, and we'll be passing through that tomorrow. And that is a highway, so it's got like barriers similar to a railway level crossing for road traffic, so it flashes red as the bridge is raised, and then the barriers come down, I presume before the bridge is raised, not having operated it. Our second man operates it. I just drive the boat through. But it has got barriers and red lights, so all being well, I'll try and film that tomorrow. I did film it coming out, but it was a bit awkward because there was another boat behind us and there were boats moored, and it wasn't easy to operate the camera. It's difficult really trying to film it and drive a boat at the same time, because you've always got to keep concentrating on what the boat's doing and correcting any sideways movement or whatever, watching your speed. So you have to be jack of all trades when you're filming and driving a boat. But here we are, our resting place for tonight at Norton Green.